I am shell-shocked as we exit the quarterfinals of the Austin Major. In some ways, we saw exactly what we wanted to see. In others, it was utterly devastating if you're a FaZe fan like myself. As on one hand, Vitality seemed to cruise past NAVI despite them putting up a pretty good fight, locking in their semi-final berth. And then on the other side, what we thought would be the triumphant coming out party for FaZe on the stage turned to ash in our mouths as the Mongolz played one of their best series of Counter-Strike that this 5-man core has ever been around for. This was definitive, dominant, and unrelenting from Mongolz as they took a 2-0 victory and have eliminated the last remaining North American hope in Bubblesj. Simple, unfortunately, did not play to expectations, and FaZe exit with a whimper. So, obviously, we have a lot to break down. I am a very sad FaZe fan, but I will not be downplaying Mongolz throughout this video. Congratulations to them for playing so dominantly, and I hope they can continue this effort throughout the rest of the major. But we'll go about it one step at a time. If you guys enjoy these same-day recaps, you can show me by leaving a like, leaving a comment down below, subscribing to the channel already. Help me at 10k subs by the end of the year. In point of that, we're getting very near 7,000 subscribers, and I'd like to hit that before the major ends, so help me out with that. And lastly, before we get started, I would like to thank today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey, a CS2 trading website. You put in the skins that you want to trade, you select what you want, you use my code LionHeartZ for up to $5 off, or click the top link in the description, and boom, new drip. Nice. You can also use my code for a 35% deposit bonus if you want to buy with real money. And they have a free section with cool giveaways. So check the top link in the description, use my code to buy 15 Dragon Lores to let them know I sent you their way, and thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. I'll be honest, we're going to stay pretty broad strokes with when we're talking about Vitality versus NAVI, because as I tried to formulate my thoughts and take notes while the FaZe game was going on, I kind of just came back to the fact that I didn't really have much to say about this series. You look at the scoreline in both these games, and yeah, 9-13, 11-13, NAVI certainly had a shot. They had a much better shot on Nuke than they did Mirage, in my opinion, but overwhelmingly, it felt like at no point the momentum ever shifted. It felt like Vitality were able to handle pretty much everything in stride, and overall, I don't really think it's a contest who the better team was when it comes down to just all the individual players. I mean, I guess like the one like positive takeaway here, that Wonderful was pretty good overall, and Bit was also quite good, but JL and Emma, they struggled. Alexi B did his best, and then for Vitality, you can stomach Apex and FlameZ having a pretty quiet series because you know that Mezzy or Rops will step up, and Zaiwu will always get his. Like, I think they were talking about on the desk before, if Zaiwu would have under 41 kills in 2 maps, he got exactly 41. It just goes to show how consistently great he is and how much he will just be this omnipresence in the server, and NAVI simply could not compete with that. There were glimpses, there were moments. Alexi B had some great clutches with Emma on Mirage. Over on Nuke, he got a lot more impact out of Wonderful. But overall, it was just like they were trying their best. It's like Sisyphus. They're pushing the boulder up over and over and over, but they're gonna fall. They're not gonna be able to summit that peak at any point. I guess I'll just reiterate the thing I've said many times when it comes to talking about NAVI. I think it's borne out by the fact that this game wasn't like out of hand. This was not a stomp. You know, in my predictions with Dust, I said they wouldn't get to 10 rounds on either map, and they did on Nuke, and they got real close on Mirage. So I guess, you know, pie in my face on that. But when I watch NAVI play, what they're just really missing is a star player. That is it. That is it. That's what they're fucking missing. They don't have a top 10 player, and that's the only gap. Because tactically, they keep up super well. They did a lot of really cool calls. They did a lot of really cool stuff on their T sides. They're right there. That's what's so frustrating to me when it comes to talking about this team. Because if you just like, let's just like, I want to give an example that like works in a vacuum. Let's just assume all else equal, no issues with roles, communications, nothing else. We were just like player for player. You just dropped Emma and swapped in Donk. NAVI could beat Vitality. Now it's an extreme example because Donk is obviously, you know, the best player in the world. But the point being is that they're just that injection of star power short. They have everything else. And it would do a whole lot because I think Wonderful's fine. Is he like the best opper long term? No. But like he's not the most immediate problem. Bit can still be fantastic. And it's just like, it's one of JL or Emma. That's what I'm getting. It's one of those two guys. It's JL or Emma. You gotta just can one of those dudes and find somebody else. Because it's just, this roster has run its course. They have bottomed out. There's no more growth to be found here with this combination of 5 players. because players don't just magically get 1.5 times better over the course of an offseason. It just doesn't happen, man. And it bugs me that NAVI are right there, but they can't just pull the trigger and make the next move. I don't know if Mikaze is the right answer. I don't know who the right answer is, but they need something, because they have damn near everything else to continue being a top 5 team and continue contending for championships. That's my biggest takeaway from this game. I guess the other takeaway structurally, just to give, you know, some actual analysis here, is that Mezzi is so good, by the way. Like, it's hard to tell what anchor of the year is going to be by the end of the year, because obviously there's still the rest of the next season to consider. But considering that Jimmy has struggled out the gate in 2025, and so has Bit, it kind of feels like Mezzi's just going to run away with that award. And when I watch him play, especially on Nuke, I can't verify this claim. This is just off the dome. Mezzi has to be one of the best lower, like, on the floor A-site defenders I have ever seen. When he's playing behind Silo, I feel like it's actually impossible to get into that bomb site. Obviously, he had the game-winning play on Nuke where he had just an insane triple kill solo on the bomb site, swinging left and right, both sides towards Hut, towards Squeaky, and just taking headshots clean as you come. He seems to understand the timing of holding that position to near perfection, and I guess it's pretty fucking easy if you know Zywoo is going to be rotating into your heaven to have full confidence to just focus on your crosshair. But he's insane. It's been said before, the fact that Mezzi is your 4th best player is genuinely fucking wild, and no player has benefited more from Spinks leaving and Rops entering than him. Mezzi is just insanely good. And him and Rops really stepped up and kind of made up for the fact that Flamesy did not have a good game. Just a real shame that, you know, basically the grand finals is tomorrow and not on Sunday. We'll save more of that for the FaZe Doom posting. That will be the rest of this video. But, you know, good job, Vitality, I guess. And then you guys know what you're here for. You guys know what's going to happen right now. Mongolz, first off, fantastic job to you guys, because this might be the best win for your organization, point blank, period. It's the major, it's the quarterfinals. You walked into an arena where literally everybody was rooting against you. You didn't just have like the fan favorites in FaZe, it was the overwhelming fan favorites in FaZe. And the Mongolz, you're the youngest team in the top 10, arguably, or at least close to it. And you're used to being the fan favorite yourselves. You guys are always, you know, loved and cheered for in every arena you've gone into. And you guys have all these choking issues kind of hanging over the top as you head into this matchup. And then you don't have a single person in the direct zip code of the Moody Center on your side. And you walk out and you beat FaZe, not only just comfortably, but decisively 2-0 and secure your spot in the semifinals. Obviously, I'm biased. My FaZe fan flag, it flies high. This FaZe roster has 4 of my all-time favorite players on it. So yeah, it sucked watching them lose. That's 100% the case. But the one thing we're not going to do, and I will not allow that to happen, is to downplay how good the Mongolz played. Because I stand by that. I think this is their best victory. You had excellent calling from Blitz. You had timely impact from Senzu. He did not disappear on the stage for it feels like the first time ever against an opponent that's not Aurora. And then everyone else cooked. 910 was incredible. He was the best player in the server, other than maybe Elige at times on Anubis. And overall, you guys were the better team. Getting into Mirage specifically, I think it's very easy to point at a couple of obvious issues with FaZe. One, their T-sides on both maps were awful. And then 2, Simple could not meet the moment in the way we expected. He got off to a pretty interesting start. He had that huge double kill in the pistol round. I thought maybe he'd be able to rise up to these expectations, but over the course of the rest of the game, he would struggle, and even though he ends with a 14-14 scoreline, that's kind of just buoyed by some standout moments amongst a lot of mistakes. And I feel like on one hand, it's easy to criticize because it's Simple, there's so much attached to the name. On the other, if I wanted to give a very tempered take on things, my biggest thing that stuck out to me is that I think, whether Simple would like to admit it or not, the nerves of the stage, I think, got to him. When I watched him play, he's always had this kind of shaky, frenetic style of aim, but he was shaking more, especially when he would miss. You could see that there was like there was just a bit more nerve to it. I think, like it or not, when you're making your arena debut in a major after almost 2 years of absence, that's going to add a lot of pressure. That's very hard to control, even if you're someone like Simple. I think the pressure of the game simply got to him. And maybe that wouldn't have happened if he just gotten to a hotter start. But once things started to slow down and he started to struggle, I think that frayed the edges in a way that was very noticeable. On top of that, LBKcs and Frozen, who were just cooking through the group stage, failed to show up in this first map. They both bottom fragged. The thing that is just going to stick out like a sore thumb is Karrigan top fragged. Karrigan went 20 and 14. He was electric. He was not just good by Karrigan standards, he was hitting legitimately good shots and taking space and getting multi-kills on the CT side. Him and Blitz were going blow for fucking blow on the first half. In a server filled with names like Simple, Rain, LBKcs, Frozen, 910, Mazzino, Senzu, it was these two motherfuckers who were topping the scoreboard at half. That's like, it's just, what a weird set of circumstances. And then the T side for FaZe was just simply bad. It wasn't working because the stars weren't working. Like, I don't want to like boil it down to just that, but if LBKcs and Frozen are going to do nothing, then it comes down to Hero Ball from Simple, Rain, and Karrigan, and that's not going to get it done. There were definitely a lot of rounds where I felt like FaZe got burned on bad timings. The one that stands out the most is, I believe, round 6, where Mongolz are on basically a deagle save by, and FaZe go up to a 3v5 advantage almost immediately, and then every single deagle shot that 910, Blitz, and Senzu hit in this round was off of the moment that a FaZe player turned their crosshair away, which is fucking painful to watch play out. But even like that aside, FaZe still lost plenty of rounds where no shenanigans happened. They just failed to stop the Mongolz. And then 910 came alive in such a big way on the CT side. This was a statement game from him. He was fucking awesome, and he dominated the op-v-op matchup. There's no other way to put it. It just felt like for the entirety of Mirage, we were waiting for FaZe magic to happen, and it just never materialized. And even stuff like Simple getting a great op 3k out in mid was cool and all, but then we get into, you know, pretty much like the next round, and Simple swings out mid again and misses a really bad shot onto 910. 910 creeps into the smoke. He kills the other guy in mid behind Simple, and then Simple flails and misses a no-scope. Like, it was just felt like there was not only some bad luck, there was just like bad juju around FaZe. Of course, though, just when I think about FaZe kind of pull me back in, because on Anubis, I was once again believing in the copium, especially when FaZe had such a good first half. I mean, going up 7-5 on the CT side of Anubis, do we have to reiterate why that seems so good on the surface? That's an insane effort to take into your second half, whatever you're going to do in the second half, because the map is just so T-sided, right? And I mean, there's no way around it. Like, Blitz called a fucking amazing game, dude. He really did. Oh, Blitz really was on his bullshit today in a way that I have a lot of respect for. I'm just frustrated. Okay, bear with me. I think the way that Blitz kind of called tempo across the CT side was just straight up good. The round that stands out the most is calling that double mid push, just going straight out to the window and looking down into water and just catching two FaZe players with no idea what the fuck's going on and pretty much ending the round almost instantaneously. It's just damn good conditioning to think, kind of lure FaZe into the sense that you guys are going to play very defaulty and not very aggressive, and you picked the right time to do it. It just put a dagger right through FaZe, and even though like Simple tried his best to kind of navigate around, Rain had a moment where he got thrown to the B side and could have maybe made it over to E-Box and got a pick, but that got shut down. It was very much a, oh my god, FaZe are going to lose kind of moment. Like, I pretty much accepted my fate right then and there. But before we even get there, I got kind of ahead of myself. The big thing I want to shout out throughout this game is that LBKcs was fucking awesome. And LBKcs kept me hoping and praying till the very end. He had two unbelievable clutches in this game. A 1v2 at the end of the first half, and then a 2v4 combined with Frozen towards the end of the second half that were fucking unreal, man. And when LBKcs popped off both of these, just I got chills the way the crowd lost their fucking minds. The NA crowd watching, you know, the best NA player of all time pull off heroics that you rarely see in a way that really only LBKcs seems to be able to do. Just the way his mechanics work, the way he aims, it's just like the way he snaps on the heads is so robotic sometimes. His game is just so satisfying to watch. And you think that would be just the way to like bolster FaZe back into the game, but then you look over at Simple, who goes 10 and 19 and is just struggling so hard, and it sucks, man. Simple bought 4 auto shotties throughout this game, which, you know what, fair play, dude. Just do you, King. I'm not even mad anymore. I've transcended mad. I'm just in the pain stage of guilt currently. 9-10, once again, fantastic. So was Senzu and Techno. I thought Senzu really just, in a lot of ways, beat the allegations. He showed up in so many important rounds across both maps, and that's awesome to see. Do I have any more thoughts? No. No, not really. I just hope that the Mongols can put up a good fight tomorrow. I think they should be able to beat Pain, but who knows? The Brazilians are riding a high themselves. We have Mongolz versus Vitality, which kind of currently feels like the grand finals at this point. There is definitely going to be a lot of discussion over the coming days about ZywOo kind of getting another fraud major, kind of a Paris 2.0 situation. And yeah, it does suck that there is no chance of them playing a Spirit, a FaZe, Falcons, whatever you want to. Really, they're only going to have to deal with Mongolz as a team that is like truly threatening to them in a best of 3. Unless the Mongols really turn around. Okay, dogs are going crazy. I am obviously a big pusher of the, you know, ZywOo is not my GOAT agenda. But that's more so in the context of he's not the CSGO GOAT. You know, memes aside, I do think we need to consider the games as different eras. And ZywOo, until Donk plays for 5 more years, more or less, or really does some crazy shit, ZywOo is going to be the front runner for the best CS2 player of all time. And the Mongols are nothing to sneeze at. Pain could be threatening, but it does kind of feel unsatisfying that, like, the cap off to the Vitality era is going to be a major finals against 2 teams that one is not really a top 10 team, or at least hasn't been so far for the last 4 months, or the other is a team that is just known for disappearing in playoff games. So will the Mongols just disappear against Pain or disappear against Vitality, and it's going to be a one-sided affair? Who knows? But in a best of 3, yeah, Mongolz, Spirit, Falcons, all 3 of those teams would have given Vitality much more of an issue. Vitality are not an unbeatable team. That's the big thing to stress, right? Because, you know, NAVI really show that if you have good tactics, you can get rounds with these guys. They're not unbeatable. They're not, like, so dominant in such a way that there is no competition. So if we just had one of those teams, you know, it would have been a much more interesting major finals, I think. Maybe I'm going to be wrong on that. Maybe Mongols are going to do the miracle, or Pain are going to defy all the odds. That'd be cool to see. But I do think we end up with a lopsided bracket, which is just an unfortunate outcome for the game. And it comes back to the major format having a lot of holes. This bracket would not have been one-sided if it was best of 3s all the way down, because teams like Vitality and Mongolz would not have slipped up in their opening games. That's just, or at least it was a lot less likely. But anyways, it's just kind of a simple, straightforward fact about the format, I guess. Anyways, I'm going to go and cut it here. I'm tired. I'll see you guys soon in another video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Skids Monkey. You can check the top link in the description. You go trade on their website. You get a $5 on top of a $100 trade bonus, like a 35% deposit bonus. God, the dogs are being loud. Thank you to Skids Monkey for sponsoring this video. Thank you to my channel members. You guys know who they are. I'm tired. Follow me on Twitter, TV, LionHeartZ. Bye.